women are, because they don't have the full range of resources at hand, and they're not. I don't think they have the same kind of immediate intuitive understanding of or attraction to babies that men have. I think that switches around the age of 2 or 2.5 when the kids can engage in rough and tumble play, because men are much more likely to engage in rough and tumble play with children than women are. And rough and tumble play seems to be one of the things that civilizes children. And it's partly because, one of the things that you have to learn when you're a child is what actually hurts you and what can be ignored, and what actually hurts someone else and what can be ignored. And the best way to learn that is in rough and tumble play, because what happens is that if you're playing with a kid, they get more and more excited and they do more and more crazy things until they do something that either hurts them or hurts you, and then you have to say, look, you can't do that. And it's like a dance in a sense, when you're wrestling with a little kid. And you have to let them win fairly frequently, because otherwise they don't continue the game. And you can tell that because if the game is going well, they're laughing with insane delight, because kids just love rough and tumble play. And they love crazy things. I mean, you can throw them in the air and catch them, and they think that's just great, But partly what you're doing is you're extending their body in all sorts of ways and getting them to learn in an embodied sense where the limits of where their limits are and where the limits of other people are, and that's embodied. And children who haven't had that, man, they're just so awkward. It's unbelievable. They might have some hypothetical sense of how to interact with another person, but they don't have an embodied sense of it, and they can't tell the difference between what hurts them and what doesn't. Because often a young child, if they're startled, they'll start to cry. And then you can say, well, that didn't hurt. And then they'll notice, oh yeah, that didn't hurt, and they'll stop crying. But if they haven't had their limits tested, they'll cry at anything unexpected, even if it doesn't hurt. And that's not good, because if you cry under all conditions, the probability that you'll make friends when you're 3 is like 0, because another kid will start playing with you and maybe play rough. And if you burst into tears, several times, the kid's just going to go somewhere else and find a different playmate. They'll say, you're just a baby.